I'm excited for this show. I had the chance to meet Jeff on an interview for That Entrepreneur Show. Stay tuned for that because this one is coming out first. But there's a lot to learn from this man. We've had great banter back and forth, even behind the episode right now, just about putting ourselves out there, stepping into situations. You never know where one connection, one event can lead to. And now I'm grateful to have the opportunity to connect with Jeff here for a second show. So, Jeff, this time, welcome to Writing with Authors.
Vincent, thanks for having me on. I've been excited to do this show, Writings with Authors, for the last few days since we talked about it. And I'm so excited it's finally here.
Me as well. This is an exciting show. If it's your first time tuning on, I get the awesome opportunity to bring on a published writer of all forms to dive into their work, give some writing tips for your journey, and so much more. But Jeff, without further ado, you just came out with this incredible book that actually transpired, as I learned, from someone who gave you a manuscript many, many years ago that changed your life. That story was very impactful for me. So please share that story.
Well, the book is The Sultan's Seven Secrets, and it evolves around the life of Sultan Musa of Mali, who was reported to be the richest man to ever walk the earth. So that's something. And just to give you a little taste, he was wealthier than some of the names you know, like Jeff Bezos. He was wealthier than Elon Musk. In fact, he was wealthier than both of those two guys put together. It was clear back in the 1300s. So I wrote a book that covers his writings, what he taught, but then how I implemented those writings, because his book was, or his writings, it wasn't even a book, it was a manuscript from a parchment, two parchments actually. And they're really heavy on concepts, but really light on actual how do you apply it. And so I've included 30 years of coming up with tricks and tips and games and hacks that help you apply all of his principles in a way that gets results really fast.
I like that a lot, but I'm going to ask you this now. You mentioned you have a few tips and tricks in this book. Pick any tip and trick from that book. Give us a taste. What can we expect by diving into this book?
Well, in the book is a formula, and this formula came from him having a near-death experience where he met a man made of light and love who taught him how the world works. And he taught him how you and I work, how we're set up, how we're put together. And we all have two minds. We have the conscious mind, which you think of as you. That's the one that cares how your day's going. But then you have the veiled mind, and it is the mechanism that controls and steers your life.
Yep.
Whatever that veiled mind believes to be true about you or the role you're playing, because that's all you're doing, you're just playing a role that you're dedicated to, though. It's serious business to the conscious mind. But the veiled mind controls your life and keeps it congruent with that role. Now, we all understand the concept of a subconscious mind, thankfully, so we can understand what Musa is talking about with this veiled mind. It's the hidden mind, but believe me, it's running the show.
This is the second time I'm hearing about it, and it's motivating me more and more in each that. I got to ask you, though, is there a plan for a sequel? Is there something that can be built a sequel around, or you're going to write another book? Give us a little scoop of the future.
Not really. I wrote this book and put the formula in there and kind of hoping that people would know, what I knew and take that and just be able to go do it. But what I've found is that people are so busy, and the world teaches you counterintuitive, well, just contrary things to what's in that book. This is not how you're taught to do it. We're taught to really focus on our problems, try to figure out solutions on our own, just think it through, dwell on it. This book will freak you out how easy it is to solve problems, get the things you want, and get them to come to you. See, everything in your life that you want already exists in this magical place called out there somewhere. The perfect sweetheart, the perfect career, the greatest money-making idea in the world, it's all out there. And your veiled mind knows all about it. It knows, but it will not share it with the conscious mind unless it thinks that that supports the role you're playing. But this brings us to a great question, Vincent, and
Yes,
that is,
please.
if the veiled mind basically makes true in your physical world what it believes to be true about the role you're playing, who told it what role you're playing? Who told it what to believe?
You did.
And this is where it gets fun, because you did. You have been, and you are right now telling your subconscious mind what to believe about you, but not in the language that we're hearing, not in words. It doesn't care about those, not in thoughts even. It knows all your thoughts, all your words. It's aware of them. It's even feeding them to you, but it is not programmed by, and it does not obey your words or your thoughts. In that regard, it could care less, or couldn't care less, I guess is the right way to say that.
Oh, man.
The language it speaks, and Musa called this the language of the gods. It refers to the language, the communication that's taking place between the conscious and subconscious minds all the time, right now. It's in the language of feelings. Feelings is the language of the gods. Now, don't skip over that and think, oh, okay, nice. Feelings is what the subconscious mind is listening to. No, you can absolutely seize control of your life and your future. You can dictate future events and watch as they transpire at some future date. If you grasp this, change your feelings, change your life. Your subconscious mind believes your feelings. So let me ask you right now, if you're listening to this, how do you feel about your financial situation? How do you feel about your spouse or a significant other? How do you feel about your relationships? How do you feel socially about people accepting you, caring about you, loving you, thinking you're awesome? How do you feel about your level of fitness and health? However you're feeling right now, and by the way, your subconscious mind is answering that question. That it controls all of your memories, stores them all, stores your experience, and stores the concept of this role you're playing. So when you ask the question, well, how do I feel about my ability to make money? Who's answering you? Your subconscious mind will feed you the answer instantly in the language of feelings. It will give you a feeling. And you'll either feel like, oh my gosh, I am the luckiest person in the world. I just, I have plenty of money. I feel great about my financial situation. It's my relationship I'm struggling with. But whatever you're feeling when you ask that question about any aspect of your life is what your subconscious mind believes to be true about you. And what did I say earlier, Vincent? Whatever it believes to be true, it's going to make true in your physical world. Now, everybody I teach this to in the beginning says the same thing. They kind of think the same thing. This is what the world has taught you. So they say, wait a minute, isn't it the other way around? I mean, it is what it is, and that makes me feel a certain way. That's why I feel like this. Okay. But what if it's the exact opposite? What if it is what it is because that's how you feel about it on a deep core subconscious basis? And Vincent, I'll bet you anything, you can think back to any problem you have now. I mean, I don't know what your relationship is like. It's probably awesome, but if it's not, I'll bet you anything at 14 and 15, 16, even 20, you worried. You had a certain feeling about what a relationship could turn into that might not be good. You wanted to find someone who wouldn't do that to you, who you could have a different relationship with. But I'll bet if you visit those fears, you'll realize that's what your relationship is, no matter how hard you tried to find the right person. But I can prove this to you that feelings are self-fulfilling prophecies. If you learn to seize control of how you're feeling, you've seized control of your life, because when you flood, and I'm talking bury your subconscious mind in positive feelings about any aspect of your life, weird coincidences are going to start popping up. Things that weren't happening last week or last year, but they're happening now. And that's the evidence that what I'm teaching, what I'm showing in this book works. And I'm going to give you a little taste.
All right, let's get it. Appreciate that. Give it to our audience.
Of what happened to me. When I got this book, I was 33. I was a concrete contractor making about 60,000 a year. And I could get by on that as long as nothing really serious went wrong, but things did go wrong and I was drowning financially. I got this manuscript. I read about the language of the gods, understood the principle of the conscious mind, the veiled mind. The veiled mind is running the show, but the conscious mind is really running the show. It just doesn't know it until it learns it. And you shouldn't be shocked at this, because everything you set out to do, there's a trick. And the trick makes it easier. So I remember when I first started pouring concrete, I had this great foreman. He's a great finisher. And I was struggling. It's hard to move concrete around. It's hard to get it to do what you want it to do. It's heavy. It's nasty stuff. And I remember one day he came, he was watching me try to float. I was edging and floating, and he said, "Jeff, lighten up on that float. Just let it glide. You don't need to push down." And in my mind, I thought, yeah, you do. This stuff doesn't move on its own. As soon as I did that, finishing concrete became easy, because the same technique applies when you're troweling, when you're finishing. So floating, finishing, all of it, lighten up, quit pushing so hard. And that made all the difference. It became easy after that, and some other tricks that he taught me. But this Sultan Musa of Mali just learned a trick, or a set of tricks, 7 basic principles. That's why the book is called The 7 Secrets, or Sultan's 7 Secrets.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Your expertise on the area, of course, combined with your passion, and we spoke about that in your last show, just the passion that was screaming through the screen. On this one, exactly that, though. It's a video podcast, so everybody gets to see your enthusiasm there. Before I let you go, you've already given us a ton of advice. I've got to twist it back to our writers out here who may have tuned in today to pick up a tip or two on their writing journey. What are some things that worked for you when you put this amazing book together here, Jeff?
Write about something you really know. Don't write BS. It will come back to haunt you. It's no fun when it does. Write about something that you really know, that you know works. If you give advice, make sure it's good advice. Nobody likes hearing BS, and they'll figure it out eventually and hold you responsible. They don't like it. So write about something you really know, number one. Number two, make sure it works. Make sure it's true. That's why I've only written one book, because I only know one thing that is absolutely valuable and absolutely works. And that's, I would say, if you have something you're passionate about and you know it works and you know it's valuable, you know it will help others, the rest will come. And so go find that and write about it.
I love the inspiration there. Everyone out there, we all have a story to share. We all have skills that we learned. Something that was even brought to my attention, which got me more into coaching, was that, Vin, you may think a podcast process is easy, just networking to the guests, recording, editing, marketing, but most people don't know that. So I created a course and started getting some quick love. Then that led me to the coaching. So everyone out there, whatever your voice is, have the courage to share it, because you never know who you might improve along their way. We just learned a whole lot of new skill sets. And now, where can we find this book? If you want to pick up a copy right now, Jeff, where can we go?
It's on Amazon.com. It's a #1 bestseller, but you can also download the video book. That's me reading the book and telling the story and ad-libbing a little bit. You can download that for free at sultans7secrets.com. And you could be speaking the language of the gods this afternoon, all day tomorrow. And I promise you, it will change your life.
I think it certainly will, because if you haven't been paying attention, then I don't know what to tell you. But for me, I was affected the entire way. So I really appreciate you coming on here, Jeff, connecting with me to come on That Entrepreneur Show. That will come out later on. So keep, Jeff, in the back of your mind. This show is coming out real soon. And with that, we're signing off. Is it Florida to Belize, or where are we today, Jeff?
Well, I'm not in Belize today. I'm in Utah.
All right.
I'll be there next month. Hey, Vincent, thank you so much for having me on. This was a blast.